Virgil, I don't really want you sticking in my pocket. All right, so we're doing, they said every presentation has got to be on a rabbi, so I chose Chaim Potok. He wrote this book, and I own another book, his most famous book, The Chosen. He also wrote. It's a good book too, but I couldn't find it. People took books off my shelf, and I had to put them back, and I didn't sort them, and I couldn't find it. So I only have this one. If anybody wants it. I read half of this one. I'm going through this one now, and I read The Chosen. No, he's a rabbi. Yes, that happens in the book. That's where my intense fear of getting blinded by my glasses comes from. In the book, he gets hit by a baseball, and he gets blinded by the glass in his eye. Okay. So this presentation is just going to be a bunch of highlights. And so I thought we'd get some background first and flash through it and get some fun facts to warm up before we get into it. So second slide. These are some fun facts about Chaim Potok. He was the oldest of 4 children who all either became or married rabbis. At the age of 20, he graduated from Yeshiva University, summa cum laude, and his birth name is Herman Harold Potok. I don't know why they named their kid Herman Harold, because... And yeah, so the big thing, if you read about and you look into his life, big thing you're gonna see everywhere is his visit to South Korea, because he was in the army. Next slide. Chaim was the first lieutenant in the U.S. Army, serving as both a medic and an engineer. He was deployed in South Korea, where he was startled to find no Jews. And yet he realized the people prayed with the same fervor and intensity as the Jews he is used to seeing. This experience may have later inspired his book, The Work of Light, which chronicles a young rabbi and a student of Kabbalah who served as the United States military chaplain in Korea and Japan, blah, 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 challenges his way of thinking about religions. Speaking of things he's written, next slide, we have a body of written works. He was very prolific, and he wrote a lot of books. Those are all of his books. Yes. His most famous one is The Chosen, which is the second one on the list. And I have My Name is Asher Lev, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4th one on the list. Oh yeah, that meme says, "Bad books by Chaim Potok." And then he opens the book. It's this book intentionally left blank. And then there's his face. Yes. Old Men at Midnight was his last book. We're going to talk about that later. But next, he had a long career, and he wrote lots of books. But writing books wasn't the only thing he did. He also had all these accomplishments. Chaim was an instructor at the University of Judaism. He was a scholar in residence at Har Zion Temple, serving as a managing editor of Conservative Judaism and editor-in-chief of the Jewish Publication Society. In 1965, he earned a PhD in philosophy at the University of Pennsylvania. That was in addition to going to college to become a rabbi. So he went to college twice. But yes, next slide. Then he did a lot of stuff, but eventually he died. After the publication of Old Men at Midnight, he was diagnosed with brain cancer. He passed away on July 23rd, 2002. age 73, leaving behind a vast and influential body of written works, as well as a legacy of peace and wisdom. Next slide. Now, here's a summary of everything that we talked about. Rabbi Chaim Potok was an acclaimed and influential author of Jewish American literature who lived from 1929 to 2002. He's best known for his book, The Chosen, which is required reading for many students across the US. So somebody has to have read that besides me out of everybody here. You would think somebody else in here would have read it because it's a Jewish book and it's required reading. Hey, Ruben's read it. Give Ruben a round of applause. Yeah. Because you wrote the book I like. Yeah. I liked that it was a good story as well as being religious literature. The two don't always go hand in hand.
What is the biggest takeaway from that book that you've got?
I think that different people travel different paths in life, but they always hold on to their heritage and where they came from. Because it's about a ultra orthodox Hasidic boy who wants to become a psychologist and become lesser religious, and reformed, like, secularist Jew that's still religious that wants to become a rabbi. And so they both like choose different paths from there, from the ones that how they were raised.
It's a fiction book?
Sorry?
Is it fiction?
Yes, it's fiction. His most autobiographical book is this one. My name is Asher Lev. This one's about a leftover Hasid who keeps kosher, prays 3 times a day, and believes in Rabbono Shel Shalom Olam, the master of the universe. But he is also an artist who is compulsively driven to run the world as he sees and feels, even if it leads him to blasphemy. And Asher Lev grows up in our cloistered Hasidic community in post-war Brooklyn, a world suffused by ritual and revolved around a charismatic Rebbe. But in time, his grift threatens to estrange him from that world and the parents he adores. Yeah, if you want to see the list, I had a list on slide 4. I've read 1.5.
What's the question?
The question was, how many of the books have I read?
Yeah.
I've read The Chosen, which is the second one, and half of My Name is Asher Lev.
Sounds the coolest out of all these books.
I'm going to read Jewish Ethics next. But I'm not going to read all of them because there's 14 volumes.
What is the question? What is the question you would ask Chaim Potok if you met him?
I would ask him what his philosophy was, because he went to school for secular philosophy and he was a rabbi. So I'd like to know how he viewed the world with all that education. Yeah.
Do you?
I looked up Jewish philosophers, and then this guy came up, and I didn't know that he was a rabbi. So I was thinking about doing it. Huh?
I am the clay.
Yeah.
So, what about his family? Noah, do you know, like, did he have any children or that kind of brothers, sisters, that kind of stuff?
I don't know about children
he was
because
10.
when I was doing research,
Horrible.
I couldn't find. I was looking for pictures of his family and stuff, so I could show pictures and say who it was. But I couldn't find pictures of anybody except for him. And But I do know that his parents immigrated from Poland, I think, and that fun fact, all of their children married or became rabbis. I think he had 4 brothers and 2 sisters.
So one brother, 2 sisters.
I think, but I don't know because I didn't write it down. It's not in my notes. So I'm just going off of memory, so it could be totally wrong.
Okay, I like that. That's a good answer.
You should
Good
you
answer.
should definitely look it up because I don't know.
I'm not going to look it up, but I appreciate your answer.
Forever, that will be the answer.
So that's my presentation.
Good job.
The Remarkable Life of Chaim Potok. Yeah, that's because the presentation used to be Old Men at Midnight, because I was going to write about his group of friends and stuff and how their views differed, but then I couldn't find out information because his friends weren't very famous. Well, Old Men at Midnight is also one of his books. It's his last published book. No, the book wasn't. It's just I was reusing the title because I thought it was clever to use one of his titles for his books and have the double meaning.
I don't know if I'm going to go to college to come around like that. But like, I'm trying to write. It seems like he was very academically driven.
All right. So next on the list, I think I have Shlomo. No, sorry. Mattis Yahoo is gonna be up sometime soon. And I think Ovadia was, or somebody was after that. Let me see. Are you after? All right. So either if Vinny's not ready next week, then the week after, just let me know. And also let me know what rabbi so I could like promote it, huh? Sure, you can plug it in. Go ahead. Be careful. Hey, Safa, how are you? Hear me? Oh, it's actually